So for force vectors part 2, we're going to break things down a little bit farther. And let's start off where we left off in the last part. So here we have our force F and our uh, right triangle. We have the opposite side of Fy and adjacent side Fx. And let's calculate what Fy and Fx are. So we know that by using the relationships that we came up with sine, cosine, and tangent. So if we are given F, our force, and we know what the angle is, we can calculate what Fy is by just merely rearranging. So Fy is simply the sine of theta times F. Similarly, we can do the same thing to find f of x, which is rearranging the cosine formula, and we get f of x is f times the cosine. And remember that if the sense is down or to the left, that means that the value for f of x and or f of y is negative. Well, let's use some real numbers. So here we have vector A has a magnitude of 75 pounds, and it has a 35-degree angle, which we look at as counterclockwise from the x-axis, and it is pointing up and to the right. And let's calculate what f of x, or I'm sorry, what f sub ax and f sub ay are. First, let's take a look at the x component. Again, we just break it down into its simple chunks. Let's go back to our cosine relationship, adjacent over hypotenuse. And we plug in what the adjacent component is, which is f sub ax, and our hypotenuse is just our a value. And when we plug in numbers, we get the cosine of 35 degrees equals f sub ax over 75. And we can also write that in the following manner. F sub ax is 75 pounds, don't forget our units, times the cosine of 35, and it's to the right. And when we punch those numbers into our calculator, we come up with 61.4 pounds. And we can do the same thing for y. And for y, we would use our sine theta relationship, plug in our values, and here we have for our opposite f sub ay, and for hypotenuse, that again is a. Going a step farther and plugging in our numbers, we have sine of 35 degrees equals f sub ay over 75 pounds. Rearranging that, we can say f sub ay equals 75 pounds times the sine of 35 degrees, and it is pointing up. And when we do the math, plugging those numbers into our calculator, we get f sub ay is 43 pounds. And let's do one more real quick one. And here we have vector B. It's also 75 pounds, and it is 35 degrees also, but it points clockwise from the x-axis, and it points to the right also, but it points down. Well, how do we approach that? Well, let's take a look at x first of all. So in the same manner, when we plug in our numbers, we get cosine of 35 degrees equals f sub b of x and over 75 pounds. It's still pointing to the right, and it's still 61.4 pounds. When we look at y, we have to remember one thing here, that the y component points down, and so we add the negative sign. So we get f sub by is 75 pounds times the sine of 35 degrees down, and The negative sign can throw people off here. If you don't like the negative sign doing the math, that's fine. Pull it out. Just remember when you get to the end to put the negative sign back in. The negative sign is very important here. And if you forget it, it would count as wrong. And so next, the third part, we'll apply these concepts and do some practice problems.